It's a little later than normal, but hello, everybody. How is everybody doing today? I'm doing quite well. How about you? Today, our lesson is going to involve a part of the body that is normally really hard to draw. We are going to learn a fun new way to learn to draw hands. And that way is it's actually pretty easy too. So we're going to talk about a little bit about this way that I just decided to start playing around with. And we're going to talk a little bit about hand structures. We're going to talk a little bit about how that works with the actual rest of the body. We're going to talk about the little muscles and connecting points that happen so that you guys understand the hand a little bit better. So by the end of today's stream, if you guys do stay and you guys feel like learning, you guys will be better artists by the time you're done here. We're going to be chilling for a while because it's Sunday and I missed my scheduled 8:30 slot. So I'm going to be drawing for a while. And I didn't really get to stream the last couple days, so I'm going to be here for like an hour or two. If you guys want to level up your art in that amount of time, I highly suggest you guys grab a sketchbook. Grab a sketchbook, come listen to me talk and rant for a little bit. I might say a lot of nonsensical shit too, but at the same time, you guys will learn a lot of stuff. So, you used your egg and arrow method and it helped me a lot. Yeah, the egg and the arrow is fantastic. So if you draw an egg with a compass and an arrow, you can come up with your hip bones and your body in like 2 seconds. So understanding the human body doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard. But a lot of people get taught in ways that make it incredibly difficult to understand. So what I aim to do whenever I come onto these streams is to simplify a little bit of those processes for you guys. I take the endeavors that I had to struggle through and I talk you guys through them so that you don't have to figure it out on your own. Okay? That is my goal. My goal is to teach you guys a roadmap of how to start at one place and actually end at a cool thing and no guessing in between. Okay, so that is what I do. Now, yesterday we were talking about heads, and I decided yesterday that I was going to make a little roadmap because I obsess over the things that I draw. So I was like, okay, you guys want to go over the head roadmap? Okay, hold on. I'm not going to do that until we get to okay, we'll go over the head roadmap. If you guys get me to, how many likes? Let's do 5,000 likes. We always start at 5K likes. But if you guys get me to 5K likes, I will show you guys the coolest, dopest, easiest way to learn how to draw a head. And that involves just learning how to draw a box. If you guys learn how to draw a box, you guys can then add an hourglass at the bottom section, some circles, a teardrop, and you have a skeletal system. From there, all you got to do to add the side is a circle that matches with the top section of your skull. In order to be able to draw things like eyes, boop, 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 we zoom in, zoom powers. Boop, 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 boop. And then this is where our eye socket is. So this is where our eyeball sits. Our eyeball, zoom powers again, is consisting of 3 circles, right? The white part, the colored part, the black part. And then the eyelid is just a little blanky cover, like one overlapping line over another overlapping line. So you end up with something like this, with a thick one and a thin one, and then it only shows a little bit of your eye. So whenever you're drawing your eyes, all you have to draw is two curvy lines. And then you have yourself eyeballs. Cool. So now you just throw that in there and you have yourself an eyeball. You don't have to guess where things have to go, right? So that's kind of cool. Then from there, you split the circle in half, but you split it at an angle because your ear doesn't go up and down. And then you get yourself the same thing from a profile. Ooh, so hard. So once you understand the basic concept of that, and I can walk you guys through that. But you guys got me there quick. Holy shit. All right, let's walk you guys through the process. Let me go grab some more Post-its because I'm gonna do notes as I talk you guys through it, so I show you guys how things is done. So let me grab some Post-its. I thought I had some, but I don't. I'll grab some. I'll be right back. Steed, let's go. Come on, mustache. Let's go. Good boy. Good boy. Kill your raccoon thing. All right. So we have Post-its. So let's take some notes and let's walk you guys through as far as I got yesterday. This is all one afternoon of smoking and sitting down and just letting my brain do its thing. So you guys let me know if there's any confusion at this point. Okay? Make sure to hit that like button though. I know it's taking a second to start it up, but you guys will be happy we did. All right, so let's talk about the stages of this, okay? This is a master class. This is when I'm gonna make a whole course on this, but I wanted to, I'm gonna show you guys this anyways because why not? Okay, so stage 1, learn to draw a box. Make sure to learn to split it about half the way. So it's not very hard to draw a box, right? A lot of the times, we make things harder than we need to. So the first step is learning how to draw a box and splitting it in half. That's not very hard, right? So that's gonna be a consistently easy thing to draw. So that's stage 1. Practice that. At this stage, just learning that, you could use those little guidelines to draw yourself a simple happy face. If you shift that little midline, you have a happy face in different perspectives. So all you have to do to make a character look left or right is just follow that guideline. If you want to move it up and down, you move that horizontal guideline. So if you want to move it up and down, you move that up or you move that down. Okay, so if you want to move your character around, all you really need to know is how to do this. At this stage, you can have a lot of fun just having little characters, with little ears or whatever, just moving them around and stuff like that. You don't have to complicate it to have fun. So at this stage, at stage 1, you can already have fun. Okay, but let's go into stage number 2, because stage number 2 is when it starts getting interesting. So stage number 2 is when you start adding an hourglass. You add an hourglass to the bottom section in order to start creating a subdivision to generate the elements we're going to need later. This is going to represent the top sections of your skull. Okay, you're not adding this bottom section, not yet. So you're only drawing up to here. So it's really easy to just segment those 2 sections out. And the beauty part of this is that these 2 sections are the only sections of your head that don't move. They don't shift, they don't flex, they don't do anything. So they stand static. So most people, regardless of them being a child or being a superhero, have the same sort of structure, okay? So it doesn't matter what you decide you want to draw. It can be that, it could be a little pinup, it could be whatever you decide that you want to draw. Or people. cyclopses. Anything that you feel like drawing can be drawn from that basic concept. Understanding that this is the section of the head that does not move, that does not shift, it does not bend, it does not rotate, it does not in any way, shape, or form alter itself. You have one base for it, and that's it. This doesn't move. Up until the actual mouth part, but this is easier to adjust with the other sections. But you could do that. You could just draw your skeletons like that. So that is what this is generating. This little circle or that hourglass that you draw inside creates those divisions right here. It creates your cavity for your nose, and it creates the division of your eyes between your eyebrows. So that little hourglass is really, really valuable. The triangle gives you a teardrop, and that teardrop separates that bottom part of your face into your cheeks, your teeth, and your chin. And once you understand that your lips go up from there, your lips don't have to stick out like that. They don't have to even almost exist. But if you have more lips, your mouth just naturally has more volume, right? So there's gonna be characters that you draw. Let's see. Okay, that you have that are going to have a nose, and then they're gonna have really big lips. And that doesn't mean that their skull changes. They just have bigger lips. Maybe that character just has gigantic lips. But if a character doesn't have very big lips, it doesn't really stick out that much. See what I mean? So this, a lot of the times, is misinterpreted to horrible degree as well. And that little teardrop facilitates that. It gives you your teeth. It doesn't give you your lips. Your lips come over that. Once you learn what's underneath, it's really hard not to see it. Once you learn how to see it like this, it's really hard not to see a little teardrop in a little line like this as your teeth. And then you just have to draw around that to generate the illusion of anatomy. Okay, so that is one element that you can consistently keep. And that is what that hourglass does. So that's step number 2. Step number 3 is that little teardrop that I keep on explaining to you guys. Right? And that gives you the width of the actual muzzle of your face, and it gives you the width of your face. So if you want somebody young, you make it small. If you want somebody old, you make it long. If you want somebody wide, somebody skinny, somebody like that. You see the variation of things, you see what happens. So from there, we go on to this one. Then if you want to add depth, you just add a circle to that box. If you want to do a 3/4 view, add a circle. Match the roundness. Ta-da! It really isn't an overly complicated thing. A lot of the times we go super drastic. Ooh, we want to make it even more. Let's make the box a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner, and we'll give the side a little bit more space. That's pretty simple, right? The other way to do it is really, really simple. Draw a circle, divide it in half, and draw a little circle that matches that roundness, or just a little thinner. Then from there, match that and come up with your jaw. So there's a bunch of different ways that you guys can do it in order to keep it nice anatomically correct. You don't have to start the way that I do it. There's other ways to divide it that you guys can understand it. You don't have to keep it to the way that I do it. There's the Loomis method, there's Riley method, there's a bunch of other methods. But the way that I do it, I like to not leave anything to guessing. So everything has its place, everything has its mapping points, and everything tells you where something else is going to go. And that's what I offer as a teacher. I offer the experience of suffering through this stuff so that you guys don't. I'm all right, Jesus. But not Jesus, I'm Rod. If I was Jesus, that'd be so cool. If I was like, Art Jesus. But yeah, this is something that I've been doing for this took like a couple hours to just draw out. And I walk you guys through the entire process of every single placement and feature. And this is what my book is going to be like. This is what my book, well, not like exactly like this, but it's going to be like a cleaned up version of all this stuff. So whenever you guys want to buy my book, I will release it at some point. And then maybe some people will take me serious as a teacher. And then maybe they'll hire me as a teacher at a college or something. That'd be kind of cool. Anyways, let's, we were going to talk about hands, huh? Yeah, we were going to talk about hands. Okay, what do you guys want to learn? What do you guys want to learn today? Just let me know what you guys want to learn. I'll start drawing that. I'm just going to take a second. I'm going to talk to you guys for a second. I'm going to flip this around. Let's flip the camera around. All right. Hello, my friends. I am Rod. I am the drawer behind the hand behind that. How are you guys doing? It's Sunday, fun day, right? So what do you guys want to do? Hey, Wes, what's up, dude? What up? Hello, teacher. How you guys doing? So we have the option of going into any sort of lesson today. I have more than enough time today. I'm feeling really, really happy about almost finishing this sketchbook. So we're going to be drawing a lot today. So let's talk about some topics that you guys want to do. Finn said, hi. What's up, Finn? How you doing, brother? How you doing, little brother? Nice mustache. Oh my God. I'm almost able to double curl it. I'm almost able to double curl it. One day I'll be able to double curl this. I saw it in a movie with this one dude that had this epic double mustache, and now I shall have one too. Okay, posing. We can do posing. Posing's hard. I like hard topics. Full body proportions and posing. That sounds pretty good. Full body proportions and posing. That sounds pretty good. That sounds legit. What do you guys think? If you guys think that's a good way, show me. Show me you guys think it's a good way. Yeah? All right. Okay, let's do it. Full body poses and proportions. All right, let's flip it over so you guys don't get scared of my face. From the world of tomorrow. All right, so let's see. I'm going to leave this for hands in case we ever have a hand lesson. But let's do full proportions and posing. So full body proportions. And posing. They go hand in hand. So first things first, we need to understand how to draw a human structure, okay? We need to figure out how to draw a simple human structure. Ta-da! It does not have to be a magnificent human structure. It does not have to be anatomically correct or any way, shape, or form perfect. You just need to learn how to draw a way to draw the body. Be it through perspective, be it through learning how the contours work, any way that you know how to draw the body, I need you to understand how to do it in one way or another. And then if you guys want to learn how to do it the way that I do it, I'm going to show you guys. And that is going to be through, it's going to be a combination of a lot of things that we learned. But the more important one recently is one that our moderator, Wes, that's with us today, he showed me this. He was drawing and he discovered that you could draw the hips by drawing an arrow. Just by drawing an arrow, you could draw the hips. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, check it out. That gives you the hips all the time. And I was like, huh, that's actually kind of cool. This also gives you the spine. That gives you access to your head. And then you just draw an egg underneath. And this gives you the entire system really, really quickly. And I was like, huh, that is quite interesting, Wes. That is fascinating. So it's been a fun way to be able to draw your characters a lot easier. So we're going to go over that as well. If you guys want to follow Wes, please, please, please post your thing and pin it so that they can go follow you. Okay, so any way that you decide that you want to draw your characters, even if you did stick figures, honestly, even if you learn how to draw stick figures properly, you would be able to draw posing a little bit better. But you don't have to draw things like this anymore. After today, you guys are going to see things a lot different. And you guys can thank me later when you guys open up your theme parks and you guys become multi-millionaire, animation executives. Don't forget about the person that taught you this stuff, because I expect a tour, I expect some mugs, and I expect the best teacher ever, commemorative plaque when I'm old and crinkly and I can't move and you guys have to wheel me around in my wheelchair. Okay? That's what I expect. in this economy, damn right, I'm gonna make you guys millionaires if you guys know how to apply this properly. Anyways, okay, let's talk about it. Everything is gonna fall down to an egg. It sounds weird, right? The human body should not be an egg, but it is. It's a rib cage, in general, is the shape of an egg. The bones that complicate it are the collarbone, the spine, and the ones in the back. All that stuff complicates the rib cage to a heavier extent. But in its core, the very middle of it is a little egg that has a little bit of a divot in the middle. So if you draw a little egg with a circle, you end up with the perfect spacing for a head, for your neck, for your collarbone. And if you follow this around like a circle, you also come up with the front and the back of your shape. The back leads to your spine. The spine, in combination with that little circle, tells you how wide your neck is. And from there, if you just widen this circle, it gives you your jaw. So understanding how to draw very simple elements and perspective can guide you to be able to draw a human structure relatively easy. The arrow provides the perfect shape for your hip bones. You don't even need to leave space for your actual groin because one is going this way, the other one is going this way. And then this is behind. So if you had your hips, this would be like your underwear line. So all that space, maybe you just need to flatten it out a little bit there, but you have the spacing for your legs. So you don't even need to do much besides just find the spine, find the back, and then draw an arrow. And that arrow gives you the required spacing for your legs. And now you have the ability to draw some really cool poses without struggling so much. Or you can just keep them nice and passive. Because now you know where your legs come from. Okay? So once you understand these little circles allow you to draw ovals, cylinders, however you want to draw your legs to be able to draw the structures better. It's kind of cool, huh? So now that we understand the importance of the egg, and you see how everything just came from an egg? The egg gives you the rib cage, the egg gives you that circle, and the egg gives you the arrow. It's like a figure 9. Just like a 9. If you saw this from like the profile, it would just be a figure 9. The human body is just a figure 9. How cool is that? That's all you really need to know. If you draw a figure 9 in space with an arrow in the bottom, you have access to a human structure. You can change the structures of these to anything you want for style. You don't have to keep them straight. You can balloon any of these elements up and down, make them small, make them big, whatever you feel like for whatever type of styling you feel like drawing. But the concept of the human in general is going to remain the same. You're not going to need to change the way that you draw humans. You're going to just change the proportions in which you draw them. Like if you see this too long, then just make the arrow smaller. And then you change that, and now you have your hips where you need them. You know? So you play around with a figure 9 enough. Figure 9 into your hip bones. You're going to be able to draw cool things really quickly without having to worry too much about every little piece of anatomy. Okay? And that is the whole point, right? The whole point is to be able to draw freely. It's not about being restrained by proportions and shit like that. What if I wanted to draw somebody with a really big rib cage and a really tiny hip bones? Then my figure 9, or it's a figure 9 or a reverse 6. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it. You could draw it like that. Johnny Bravo and shit like that. You know? If you wanted to make a 3/4 view, all you have to do is take that circle, make another one that's a little bit off center, and now you have access to a different leg. That's kind of cool. You could do this same concept with the collarbone and the shoulders. And now you have access to drawing those in fun ways too. Because that's how your body parts work. It's kind of cool, huh? When you raise your arms, you create 2 pockets with your shoulders and your head. You create 2 little pockets that go up, and then they push out your pectoral muscles. So they go around and create this little pocket. They go around and create the back muscles. Your arms fall into these little tiny holes inside. This is where your armpits, the intersection between all these things is your armpit. Your arm muscle, your pectoral muscle, and your shoulder. All converging here and then converging with your rib cage and your back muscles. So you have a bunch of overlapping lines right there. You have your bicep, you have your pectoral muscles, you have your shoulders. There's a bunch of things. There's like the division of your bicep and your tricep that digs into your back. And then your back muscles that wrap around your rib cage. And you get all those things happening at the same time. So you end up with some little negative spaces and stuff like that. So that is what happens with that. And that's why it's so complicated to normally teach that stuff, right? But again, if you draw an egg, draw a compass, and you draw a cylinder, you already have the proportions you need. The egg provides you the front of the rib cage, and that little compass gives you the collarbone. The back muscles become the back of that tricep. So let's zoom in. When you overlap your neck muscle, you create this little overlapping line in the back. This, in combination with your collarbone, create your back muscle. So this back muscle right here can be ballooned out to be more like Hulk or anything like that. But the collarbone in the front normally doesn't move too much. What does this look like? It looks like an eye. The eyelid is the back muscle. Okay, so when you draw a compass, you can think about it like an eyeball if you want, or you can think about it like an eyeball with an eyelid. Whichever way you feel like drawing it, you can have a lot of fun drawing that neck area with that. So that's pretty fun. That's a very easy way to be able to learn that stuff. So yeah, let's go back to our egg and an arrow. What else can you guys learn from the egg and the arrow? So the egg and the compass give you the upper body, right? This compass is going to point your arm in the direction that it needs to go. This is not the middle of the arm. This is the outside edge of the arm. The inside of the arm comes and connects back to the body. This is the outside of my arm. Into my hand. And then I bring it back into my body. Why do we do that? Because the overlaps that happen in our body create those pockets naturally. And that's how they normally work with our bodies. Our collarbone guides the direction of our arm or our shoulder, because the middle of our collarbone is going to be the edge of the very pivot point of our shoulder. So wherever that goes, that tends to follow all the arm muscles that go along with your arm. And then underneath this shoulder, that's where your pectoral muscle connects to your body. It actually connects to the arm, but it kind of looks like that better. Honestly, it just looks better visually whenever you're drawing it. So I tend to connect it here instead of where it actually connects, which is your arm. But visually and for teaching methods, it's easier to just associate it with that part. The rib cage, front, back. The back has our spine. We draw an egg. This is why we have to draw things in space, right? That's why we have to practice drawing our shapes in space. Like if we don't practice drawing shapes in space, you're gonna have a hard time doing this. If you don't practice doing overlapping lines, drawing anything besides a frontal view is gonna be really annoying for you. You're not gonna know how to draw slightly off-angle poses because you're going to be afraid of drawing things in different angles. So you need to learn how to move these very basic shapes. And once you do, you don't really forget them. You can't forget them. Okay? And that compass, again, guides your arm. So if you want to twist your body, you just twist that canvas. You can twist this any direction you want, and that's going to be the outside of your arm. So you can twist your bodies around really easy. Okay? The compass is really strong. Like that little compass and the egg is ridiculously strong. It can be the front, it can be the back. Let's see. The back, our spine is in the back, so that is going to lead to an arrow. And that arrow is going to lead to my hip bones. This is the edge of my arm. So this is the outside part. The volume goes inside. My hip bones can be right here, and they're going to be able to bring my legs out anywhere I want. See? Now, did that seem hard to come up with a pose like that? I mean, it didn't, right? It seemed pretty easy. Like, it didn't seem as intimidating as you might have thought to be able to come up with a little pin-up pose. Again, egg, compass, circle to divide the front and the back. The back leads to an arrow, and you draw 2 circles for your hip bones. This is your spine, so you go up your spine. If you match this circle, you can draw your heads. Really easy, just understanding where that circle goes. Okay. From a profile, you only see one side of the compass, right? If you split anything in half, here, let me show you guys something cool. When you split things in half, this tends to give you the proportions for your profiles, okay? So when you're drawing a profile, all you have to draw is that much. Half a circle, 1 triangle. This is still the outside edge of your arm. So your arm is going to have width coming inside from there. This point is the outside edge of your arm. This becomes your compass. That's where this back muscle happens. That back muscle connects to the back of your head. From your ear to the front of your collarbone, you connect your ear to the front of your collarbone and you have your neck muscle. This is the front of your body. Any muscles get built up from there, up, not around, not front and back, forward. Very rarely do your back muscles protrude much more than you have with your skull, with your rib cage. Most of the muscles come forward. If you want to draw ridiculous muscles like Dragon Ball Z muscles and shit like that, they tend to come forward from the rib cage. Okay? They protrude forward from your body, not around your body as much. Muscles grow from your body. They don't get chiseled from it, they grow from it. And when you find all your elements, you can draw a really skinny character, right? And then give him ballooning elements, like find the little, what do you want your kneecap? Roughly about like half of the way up. You can move it up and down depending on what style you want. And then from this circle to this circle, you get to choose how much volume you choose. How much do you want to give them? Do you want to give them upper muscles, like a bodybuilder? Do you want to give them lower muscles? Do you want him to have his calves be ridiculously big? Or do you want him nice and skinny? The actual act of adding the structures of the bone, the muscles, is very secondary to understanding how your structures overlap. If you don't know how they overlap naturally like this, you're not going to be able to add muscles to this easily. It's going to be like a nightmare for you. But if you understand that overlap, you start understanding that all those overlapping lines are the muscles. Those are the tendons. Those are the muscle fibers. Those are the bones sticking out, giving you access to that knowledge. And once you understand the stuff that's underneath, the things that are on top become immensely easier to draw. So that's why we learn from basic anatomy. That's why we learn from learning how our hip bones work, right? And our rib cage. We learn from this stage so that we can actually have fun playing around with skinning our characters any way we want. I'm not trying to teach you a style. I'm not trying to guide you into a certain drawing style. I'm not giving you the Disney way. I'm not giving you the SpongeBob way, the Nickelodeon way, whatever. I'm not giving you that shit. I'm giving you placements and anatomy lessons in a way that doesn't seem insanely boring and daunting and like annoying as shit, to be honest. Because you can only draw so many people and just like posing without knowing what you're doing before the teacher's like, oh, well, you didn't get the lighting right. And like, but I don't even want to know how to light things. I just want to know how to draw it better. Oh, well, no, you got to observe the contrapposta. You got to absorb this. You didn't get enough contrast. I'm like, but is the leg right? Oh, you didn't get that angle right. That's why it doesn't look right. I'm like, then how do I fix it? Oh, you just have to draw more. Pay attention more. I'm like, fuck off, dude. And I'm telling you that completely honestly. That was like the most frustrating thing about learning how to draw. Dealing with idiotic teachers that didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. They just wanted to be pretentious assholes. Right? They just wanted to be pretentious and, oh, look at me, I know I went to an atelier. I'm like, shut up, dude, just teach me. Like, I'm not trying to like tell you, no, just teach me how to do it. I can't understand it. Oh, no, it's me. Oh, maybe it's not for you. Maybe you should try cartooning. Cartooning's easy. And I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Bet. And I did. And I became a world-class cartoonist. And, oh man, people are funny, dude. People are so funny. Like some of my teachers from back in the day, right? Some of my teachers from back in the day, like, have come back, like, in the recent years and been like, oh, Rod, hey, remember me? I was your teacher. You're like, oh, dude, no. No. No, I am not going to go back. Oh, no, I don't want my teachers to try to, like, get me to help them and shit. No, because I didn't learn anything really from them. Very few teachers. Oh, that's not you. Okay. You right there? Where are you, stinkers? There you go. Okay. Yeah, very few teachers actually taught me much more than just technical stuff. It was about, a lot of them just kind of didn't really know what they were talking about. Like now that I am like a more full-fledged educator, right? Like I spend hours teaching every day. And I think I've reached more people than most schools by this point. I think at this point I have taught more students than a lot of art schools have. So I've left an impact already. Yay. That's kind of cool. Just thinking about that's kind of dope. But yeah, my goal is to eliminate the need for art school. I don't want you guys to need to go to art school. All right, so let's take some questions. I want to take some questions. So let's open it up to the public. Do dee do 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 dee do do dee do dee do 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 dee do do dee do 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 do. Is this on YouTube? That is a silly question to use, but yes. How do you draw legs? That's an easy one. Okay. So legs, in the most easy way possible, is to draw your arrow, right? Draw 2 circles from them, and then you draw 2 little cones. If you learn to draw an arrow and 2 cones, you can learn to draw your legs a little bit easier. If you change the size of the arrow or the size of one of those circles, and you make it skinnier, and you make the other one thicker, you can get perspective. If you keep that line in the middle, make sure that you keep it in the back, because that's your spine, okay? The reason you want to keep it in the back is because all you have to do to add volume to the rest of your body is just add a couple circles to the front of that line, and you have access to a whole system. So that's why you got to keep that little line from your arrow, you got to keep it in the back. So leave a little bit of space right there. And whenever you draw your leggies, you're going to have access to just drawing a circle or an egg and be able to draw yourself a rib cage. If you keep it in the back. If you keep it in the front, it's going to be confusing. How do you draw men? Well, the same way you draw women. You find a rib cage and you find your hip bones. From there, you draw legs. You draw a compass for your... They just don't have an hourglass, so you just don't taper it in the middle. And then you have access to drawing men. If you make the hips bigger, it becomes a curvy woman. If you make the ribcage smaller, it becomes a ridiculously tapered woman. Like Jessica Rabbit or whatever. How do you draw a face? Ooh, we've been drawing heads lately. So, let's see. How do you draw a head? How do you draw a head? I don't know. I think it's like a 10-step process, though. I'll explain that at some point. Cartoon noses are the hardest. Are they? Are they, though? Hold on. No, they're not. Cartoon noses are the easiest things in the world. Why? Because they're just a little line, right? The reason that we set the midline whenever we're drawing, that midline, this is your midline, right? That's your profile line too. So if you draw this and you're able to draw it like this, all you gotta do to turn this into a profile drawing is just give it enough width to the side. And you have yourself a profile drawing of that exact same thing. So a 3/4, a profile, and a front view aren't very difficult from each other. So whenever you're drawing cartoon noses, if you're able to draw a simple one like, I don't know, an anime profile, let's say that you know how to draw this, right? Okay, so check this out. You're going to divide this into 4, see where and how that little quadrant right there works. And in this case, it's like a little swoosh, choop, boop, right? It's 1, 2, 3. Take any circle and then do 1, 2, 3. And you have yourself that same face in any angle. Now, let's add a little bit of volume to this side. And we have ourselves a 3/4 angle of that face. If you want to draw a front view, you would do, again, 1, 2, 3. But this would just be really short. The front view would just be down the middle. And then this back one would be coming back, so you wouldn't even draw it. From the side, a very slight whoop, whoop, whoop. See what I mean? It's not incredibly daunting if we don't think about it as incredibly daunting. Right? If you think about it as, oh my God, I have to draw every ridge and every little fiber and every crevice and every bump, yeah, of course you're gonna be all fucked up when you're like try to like draw this in different views. You're gonna be like, oh my God, that's so much information, right? But if you practice doing this, even at that level, if you practice just doing that on basic shapes, you don't have to draw the whole head. You just have to draw the part that you want to draw. And then just do exercises like this. Like get used to where you can draw, and the ones you can't, when you can't do it, you got to take note of that. And then practice that over and over. And then you move on to the next thing. You do eyes. You know, you draw eyes in all sorts of positions. You see and you make sure that you can draw eyes going from every angle. Why? Because it's something that you need to learn. And when you combine these two together, you end up understanding how the human structure works a little bit more. Okay? So the problem with people is that they don't like doing this sort of stuff. They don't like taking the time to just practice the things that they think they already know, right? Like a lot of people just pretend, they like to assume that they understand things like perspective and angles and stuff because they took a class in college or a class in high school and like, oh, I took perspective. I already took perspective. I hated it. It was buildings. And then they can't draw a fucking ear. Yeah? Like they can't draw an ear in space, like going back or forwards because they don't know perspective, but they claim that they do. So it's kind of like, all right, dude, like, or when they draw their characters, they claim to know perspective, but they can't find the other side of the head, right? And all they have to do is draw literally like a circle. So when people say they know perspective, they think that it's because they know how to draw a building. They're like, oh yeah, I know how to draw perspective. I did like 1 point perspective in college. You're like, no, that's not what I mean about perspective. How do you like, do you know how to move a thing in space so that you can draw a character looking up, looking down? Can you move a basic shape in space? No. Okay, then you don't really know perspective. You know how to draw a building. And there's a difference in that. What was that? What was that last circle eyes? What these? Oh, it's an exercise that I like to do. I just like to draw a circle, set a guideline, and then I like to draw facial features around that guideline. If I can manage to draw those facial features accurately in other views, then I have successfully learned how to draw that. If I don't have the ability to do this, I need to understand why I can't do this. What's keeping me from understanding that on a very basic shape like this? Because if I can't do it on this, if I can't rotate a happy face around this, if I can't do this and go around it confidently do this and go around the whole thing like a soccer ball, I have no way in hell of being able to do something more complex like this. Do you think AI will replace art and animation jobs? It'll replace some of them. It's not gonna be like the end of everything. It's gonna replace some of them. It might replace a lot of animation jobs. But honestly, it's gonna lead to so many cool things too. Like so many people are so afraid. But you gotta understand, guys, like art progresses, art evolves. Like no computer is gonna take your job. Stop acting like the South Park rednecks. Get your jobs! Get your jobs! Get your jobs! Like it really does sound like that a lot. And it makes me kind of laugh a lot. Like it makes me laugh quite a bit because you guys have nothing to worry about. If your job is threatened because of AI, you're going to be a creative human being and you're going to find other ways to make it. You're versatile. Our lives in general as artists revolve around adapting to different things. Okay? Our lives as artists revolve heavily around being able to adapt to an ever-changing landscape. Even if you do work for a company, for an industry, for like a studio or whatever, you need to navigate their way of learning things, the way of teaching, the way of navigating their file systems. And then the moment you go on to another production, you need to be able to be versatile enough to do that again and again and again. And when you change career paths, maybe you stop being an animator, you go being an illustrator, an editorial designer, whatever. You learn and you adapt again and again and again. So if for some unforsaken reason AI takes over all the art jobs, that's fine. We will find a way to make art ours again. Don't be so scared. We have very good people on our side. Okay? All of you guys will be laughing at this whole stuff later on. Either because we're crying because AI took all over our jobs. And we're like, did not see that coming. Or we'll be like, ha ha, you can't draw fingers. Any portfolio tips? I have one, a very good one. Never apply with the same portfolio twice to two different companies. So what I mean by that, I was a hiring manager for a big t-shirt company and a couple art studios, where I was like art director in the last couple 20 years of my life, honestly. So during that time, and whenever I would hire someone, it would be very apparent when someone would just do a copy and paste portfolio. They would throw a little bit of design, a little bit of animation, a little bit of life drawing, a little bit of... And we were like, fuck, dude, we don't care about your life drawing. We don't care. If you're applying for a graphic design position, don't send life drawings. Don't send us stuff we don't care about. We don't want to see your animation reel. I want to see if you can use Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, and actually be productive. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see how creative you are. And honestly, that is the sad part about the actual hiring process when it comes down to designers a lot. It's that you're just trying to find the most efficient person. You're not necessarily trying to find the next megastar. You guys know why? Because hiring managers understand that if you hire a person that's a megastar and they feel like they are the shit, they're not going to stay for long. Ta-da! They already know when they hire you that you're probably going to move on at some point because you are already on a trajectory. And when somebody sees that, and they see that you are so like hyped up at work for like the things that you're doing outside of work and stuff like that, they're preparing to replace you. They're not ecstatic for you for being more skilled. No, they don't care about that. They're more concerned about you leaving them and them having to hire another person or two to replace you, or having to pay you more because you are more experienced. Companies are not your friends. Companies are not there to cater to you getting better. They want you to stay at the same level, so they have to pay you the same amount so that they don't have to deal with you later on. And when they do, when you become too much for them, then they just let you go. Creative differences, whatever, they always come up with a reason. So, understand your industry before you decide where you want to end up. Because the industry that you want to go in most likely is not what you expect. And people don't realize that until they sunk their whole life savings into art school, into like trying to get into them, and then they realize it's not even close to what they wanted. So be very mindful of that. The dream is easy to be sold to people. The dream of being an animator and working at a studio, it's such a nice dream. Like, oh my God, I get to wake up and I get to draw. But the downside of that stuff is that you end up not being able to pursue your own thing. At the end of the day, when you look at and you sit down to watch that movie with your family and stuff like that, right? Oh, yeah. You worked on that TV show, whatever. The only thing you'll get is a very, very, very minuscule amount of credit for a fraction of a second in between hundreds and thousands of names that were also involved in that project. That's your contribution. I couldn't do that. My ego is way too big. My ego is way too big to be able to okay that. Like, no. If I am putting every ounce of creative energy into a project and I don't get recognized for that, oof. No. No, that's just not the plan. Right? It's not. My goal is not to make a company rich. My goal is not to make a company profitable. My goal is to show my artwork and my teachings to the entirety of the human race if I could. And that's not going to be by getting a little tiny credit in the end credits where most people already left the... Nah. It's just not going to happen. Nope. I refuse. Anyways, what other questions? I don't know what I even talked about there. I just kind of ranted off. I'm sorry. That head looks weird. Hold on. What is wrong with this? Okay, hold on. This area, double the size. Okay, it has a little bit of extra height. There you go. You're funny. Thank you, I guess. What's the W word? The bird is the word. How can you make a body look more realistic? Too stiff. Okay, so if you're trying to draw characters a little bit more mobile, a little bit more fluid, if you're structuring them with boxes or you're structuring them like in a flat angle, like a front view and stuff like that, if you're always constantly drawing in a front view, things are going to look flat, right? So you have to break away from drawing things just like forward. If you are drawing things looking forward, that's going to look flat all the time. So don't do that. Start learning how to rotate and overlap your shapes a tiny bit so that things look a little bit more dynamic. The next element is understanding that the rib cage and the hip bones are two different elements, and they can be twisted and twisted around, turned around, so one can go one way, the other one can go the other. And when they connect, they create a little bit of a twist. Okay, so you can have your arms go one way, have your legs be the other, and by just learning how to overlap some lines, you can generate a lot of motion by connecting your collarbone to your belly to your groin. So any shape that you draw, if you connect your collarbone to a belly to a groin, you can have a bunch of random positions that you never would have had before. It helps you learn how to twist and turn your shapes. So understanding how a very basic concept like that, like just a little tiny little circle in the middle, can help you understand how to twist and turn a shape is kind of cool. Twist the circle in the middle, and it twists everything. So you can have that exact same shape, but now things just move. Sometimes it's all about just visualizing a very core component, a very simple component, and then rotating that component and making sense of things. Okay? So if we wanted this, but we wanted it, I don't know, like up here, that would pull everything up there. Like a little Superman pose or something. Did you post the live from yesterday? I don't know. I don't remember. I'll check later. Some of the lives have been really cool lately. Okay, so that's going to conclude our lesson for right now. I'm going to hop on again, and I'm just going to draw with music and stuff like that. So if you guys feel free to like join in, but that will be our lesson for today. Okay? I just feel like I'm bored, so I need music. So, and I can't do that with having the lesson and then uploading it to YouTube because it'll copyright infringement it. So I don't want to do that. And so I'm just going to hop back on right away, like immediately. So if you guys want to come back on, great. Oh, homework. Yes, homework. Let's do homework. Okay. What do you guys want to do for homework? We talked about proportions. We talked about the egg and the arrow. Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do that. Homework. Okay, where's my marker? I need more markers. Homework time. Homework time. Okay, so your homework today is going to involve learning how to draw an egg, a compass, and an arrow. And those three are going to comprise of a human structure. So the egg, compass, and arrow. If we combine these elements together, we get something along the lines of this. This, later on, becomes your whole body system. So understanding how that very basic element gives you depth and perspective is awesome. So learning how to do this is going to consist of drawing an egg, drawing a circle, and then drawing an arrow going around your rib cage. This is going to represent your spine your collarbone at the top, and your hip bones. Okay, so your rib cage is gonna boop, boop, boop. You're essentially replicating this, but you're doing it like that. Egg, circle, arrow. Okay, so that is your homework for today. Mastering or trying to do your best to master that shape so you can master legs later on. And just bodies in general. So that's a good one for you guys to do. And the other one, the other homework that I would like you guys to do is to practice your perspective by drawing circles and then drawing facial features along the lines of those perspective lines, so that you guys can get a better idea of what angles you guys don't know how to draw yet. Okay? When it comes down to drawing elements in different angles, a lot of the times people have issues understanding how to curve or how to rotate their elements around. And that comes from not understanding how to draw simple shapes in space. Okay? Understanding how shapes move in space, how they rotate around the simple sphere, can help you understand how that is going to be done a little bit more complex later on. Okie dokie. So we're gonna hop on again with a little bit of music, but hope you guys enjoyed our lesson today. Thank you so much for being my students. This is me and RODGON, Mustache, and Milky signing off. Come say bye, Milky. Bye, everybody! Bye! 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 All right, calm down, dude, calm down. We're gonna be right on again, okay? All right. Okay. Later, guys. Take the lesson.